Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass is firmly established as a staple of the gaming landscape. While not the only subscription platform on the market, certainly, Game Pass is unquestionably the most popular, and many would argue, the best. The service provides subscribers launch day access to every first-party Xbox game, along with the occasional third-party release. While that is a crucial selling point for the service, Game Pass's success can arguably be credited to its diverse lineup of games. Naturally, that includes plenty of online cooperative titles. Hey there everyone, Jeffrey here, welcome to Game Rant. In this video, I'll be showcasing 10 top-notch online co-op games to enjoy via Xbox Game Pass. For this list, we are just focusing on games that offer online co-op since we have actually already covered local co-op in another article and video. With all that said, let's dive into the list. Number 10, Palworld. Palworld took the gaming world by storm, which is an understatement, when it launched into early access, or Xbox Game Preview, on January 19th, 2024. On paper, an open-world survival game where players catch Pokemon-esque creatures and engage in third-person shooter action sounds like a recipe for both success and potentially disaster. Surely, such an ambitious title cannot conceivably come together to create a cohesive whole, yet Palworld just kinda clicks. Now, it is important to remember that Pocket Pair is still working on this project, and the current version is not only subject to change, but also has plenty of room to grow. Technical issues are also normal, although Palworld is not a broken mess either. Set on the Palpagos Islands, Palworld challenges players to survive and thrive. The former involves stocking up on necessities and building a base, while the latter requires exploring the impressive world in search of resources and pals to catch. Monster taming goes beyond battles as well, as pals come with special abilities that allow them to be useful at bases or when traveling the map. While not the most complex survival project ever, Palworld's success lies in its clever incorporation of various genres and mechanics that are typically not associated with each other. Number 9, Remnant 2. Both Remnant games are on Xbox Game Pass, and they are fantastic co-op experiences. The Souls-like genre is no stranger to multiplayer, but it tends to be a fairly small part of the overall package. However, Remnant from the Ashes and its successor are exceptions. While solo is certainly a viable option in both entries, the games are undeniably designed with co-op in mind, particularly the sequel. Although garnering criticism for some technical issues at launch, especially on PC, Remnant 2 is generally superior to its predecessor, and newcomers can just jump into the 2023 release without worrying too much about feeling lost. Remnant 2 is essentially a third-person shooter Souls-like, although melee weapons are also still available. Still, the gameplay prioritizes ranged combat above everything else, and it is generally weighty and satisfying. At the start of a playthrough, players build a character and pick an archetype, which acts as a class. These options are all designed around specific roles, and most of them are intended to be complementary to each other. The only exception is the handler, since that archetype is tailored for solo play. Number 8, Minecraft Legends. Minecraft Legends lives with a decent but not glowing reputation, but the spin-off is generally a fun time. As RTS projects are not known for their accessibility, linking the genre to the most successful game of all time should introduce a wide batch of new players to the strategy world. Minecraft Legends offers a fairly straightforward experience, and while the game contains RTS fixtures, these elements are presented through a hack-and-slash filter. The result is an enjoyable but somewhat shallow overall package. If someone is bored with solo runs, they can invite a few friends to help them take on the piglins. Minecraft Legends' online co-op feature doesn't really change the core loop all that much, as the game does not tether the party members to each other, encouraging them to coexist while still doing their own thing. Players can also team up for PvP battles. Number 7, Grounded. Obsidian's resume speaks for itself, particularly when it comes to character-driven RPGs. However, Grounded saw the developer step into uncharted territory, known as the survival genre. After being shrunk down to miniature size, players find themselves walking beneath the lawn's leaves and cowering in the face of insects. Along with story-driven exploration with the goal of freedom, players will need to monitor and react to the behavior of the entities that make up the area's ecosystem. Grounded works beautifully as a single-player adventure, but it also supports online co-op. In fact, Obsidian even allows players and people to create a shared world that can be accessed without needing a host to be present. The game features 4 playable characters who interact with each other during co-op sessions, which definitely enhances the multiplayer's immersion. Number 6, Sea of Thieves. Considering it had a fairly tepid launch, Sea of Thieves has blossomed into a fantastic multiplayer-driven project. 4 players can team up to form a pirate crew and head out into the unknown in search of treasure, adventure, and maybe a kraken or two. While solo explorers do exist, they will be at a disadvantage since Sea of Thieves is intended with co-op and PvP in mind. Even though more than 5 years plus have passed since the game's debut, Rare is still regularly producing updates that introduce fresh events and plenty of loot. There's almost always something new for a crew to discover in Sea of Thieves, so why not jump in? Number 5. World War Z Aftermath. Saber Interactive's World War Z was decent when it launched in 2019 as a zombie-fueled third-person shooter with a heavy emphasis on co-op gameplay. Sticking somewhat close to Left 4 Dead's blueprint while still innovating in a few key ways, the game offered a fun, albeit uneven time, and it did lack longevity. Nowadays, the original title is difficult to recommend since it has been rendered moot by Aftermath, a definitive version that comes with an expansion. Along with a plethora of fresh content like new stages and an 8th class, World War Z has also morphed into a more complete and satisfying overall package, one that can stand toe-to-toe with most modern online co-op shooters. Campaign-wise, World War Z does not hold too many surprises, since it follows a fairly straightforward formula. Players pick from a few character classes and have to plow their way through a handful of episodes set in different locations around the globe. While the story is definitely forgettable at times, it's a shame considering it is set in the same universe as a great novel, the action is consistently entertaining thanks to World War Z's impressively large and aggressive zombie hordes. The classes are well defined and cover a wide range of gameplay styles, allowing players to pick their favorites and craft balanced teams. Number 4. Deep Rock Galactic. Hoxis 4 holds many riches and even more hazards. Working for the eponymous corporation, players are charged with diving into the alien planet's underground caverns to dig for resources, a process that tends to attract the attention of the aggressive and buggy locales. Thankfully, the playable dwarves are more than capable of defending themselves through an array of weapons, and even a few skills. Deep Rock Galactic is a co-op treat that can be played almost endlessly thanks to its procedurally generated levels, and the game offers one of the best demonstrations of that technology's potential. Before heading out into the depths, players can pick from Deep Rock Galactic's 4 classes, all of whom serve specific roles that set them apart from their companions. As each dwarf can be leveled up independently, the game encourages users to swap them around as needed until they find a class they unquestionably prefer. While enjoyable in single player, definitely, Deep Rock Galactic improves immensely when experienced alongside a few friends. This just goes beyond the idea that multiplayer makes everything better, since the gameplay is obviously intended to be played in co-op. The classes work well in solo runs, don't get me wrong, but their potential can be unlocked by linking up with their fellow dwarves. Number 3. Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter has become a staple of not only single-player content, but also co-op ones. Rise is no exception, offering up to 4 players the opportunity to form a party and go on hunts together. Obviously, this comes with a spike in difficulty for the battles, although the game is still among the easier entries in the franchise. Now, complete newcomers might want to start with the single-player village quest just to get the hang of things and learn the basic mechanics. While this content does not support multiplayer, it should take less than 10 hours to complete and essentially acts as a glorified tutorial. More importantly, all of the quests in the hub can be played in co-op, and these missions are the real meat of the package. Monster Hunter Rise is all about fine-tuning builds to cater to a specific monster, and the incorporation of multiple party members provides more room for experimentation. In solo runs, targeting multiple monsters per expedition can be time-consuming to say the least, but this is more feasible when a few hunters are working together. Number 2. Valheim. Regardless of whether it is played solo or alongside a few other Vikings, Valheim is a great in-development project that is an easy recommendation for fans of open-world or survival games. If players decide to go with co-op, they have the option to create a public or private server that supports up to 10 active participants at a time. The game's focus is on PvE and cooperative multiplayer, although 2 players can certainly engage in PvP if they decide to go down that path. Valheim drops players in a procedurally generated world and tasks them with setting up a base, exploring plenty of various biomes, and taking on a few bosses, along with a myriad of smaller enemies. In single player, Valheim plays out like a traditional survival experience with a few RPG elements, and the game can get rather difficult at times. In comparison, co-op adds a sense of community that is naturally absent from solo runs, and this feature arguably leads to a more unique and satisfying overall adventure. Number 1. Halo Infinite. Halo and co-op are certainly synonymous, which made the fact that Halo Infinite launched without the feature pretty darn inexcusable. Eventually, 343 added online co-op support to the campaign, although the developer also made the controversial decision to nix local co-op, which is still baffling. Due to everything that has happened since its launch, Halo Infinite cannot be described as an unbridled success for Xbox, but the game's triumphs shouldn't be dismissed either. The campaign is ambitious, expansive, and a blast to play through. Sure, yeah, it has some pacing issues and a rather rough ending, but the positives definitely outweigh the negatives here. The same can also be said for Halo Infinite's online co-op, which has a few frustrating moments but is largely fantastic. Co-op works better during the campaign's linear missions than its open world, but the latter is still enjoyable provided players stick relatively close to each other. And there we have it everyone, 10 of the very best online co-op games to enjoy right now on Xbox Game Pass. Thank you so much for watching this video from Game Rant. Be sure to check out all sorts of other top-notch gaming content, including more lists, news, reviews, guides, originals, and so much more right here on Game Rant. Have a truly wonderful and happy day, everyone. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.